Today we're going to be talking about the algebra of functions, sums and differences, products, quotients of functions. And there's some notation here. You got to look at it carefully, and the denominator makes a difference, so you want to divide by a 0. So let's get started. So we want to do a here. F minus g is a new function, and what this means is that f of x minus g of x is a new expression. So f takes g and subtracts it, and this of x, this is just notation. This is not times x, but in fact it's just notation to say we're going to take this of x. All right, so the expression, so f of x takes x, it squares it, adds 2, and then we're going to subtract g of x. Now we're going to subtract the whole thing of g of x, which is x minus 3. So the whole thing, so that negative is going to distribute through the parentheses. So keep that in mind as we go further. So we've got x squared plus 2. Now we're going to subtract the x. So let's do the subtract x, put it in order of the variables. Now subtract 5 plus 2 minus a minus 3 is a plus 5. And then, so now we want to talk about the domain of this function. So this is a quadratic, and it works for all real numbers. It doesn't matter what you put in there. You can square, you can subtract x and add 5. So we would say the domain is all real numbers, not just, so any number. So we say negative infinity to infinity. All right, let's do part B. Now this says f divided by g of x. And remember, this is notation. And what this means is we take f, we divide it by g after we've evaluated each at x. So f of x divided by g of x. So we go get f of x, we replace it right there. So remember, that's not times, that's a notation. There's just one of x there. So here we go. So so the numerator, f of x, is the function that takes x squared, x squares it, adds 2, and then our denominator is x minus 3. Now we've got to be really careful here. The domain is going to change a little bit because there are some points where this is not defined. So let's look at the domain. So the domain, it's not all real numbers this time, because if you plug in a 3, for instance, that's a problem. That gives us a division by 0. So we want to leave 3 out. So this is the notation. You go from negative infinity to 3, and you use a union symbol. And those parentheses mean leave out 3. Now, I know it's off the screen a little bit there, but that means 3 to positive infinity. So I'm going to move it over here. So yeah, anyway, that was supposed to be deleted, but anyway, so the domain leaves out 3, and so we don't want a division by 0. So we can square things and add 2, but we can't divide by 0, so we're going to leave out 3. So here we go with the domain again, and so we go from negative infinity to positive 3, and then we have this union symbol. And those parentheses mean leave out 3. 3 is not included in the domain of this function. Anyway, thanks.